I've talked in the past about my love for exploring a new world in video games. Running around in an unknown world and discovering things on my own is a really hard thing to accomplish. This is the main reason as to why, at least in open world games, I rely heavily on waypoints and compasses. I've heard in the past about how people love just running around in certain worlds and exploring, but I never felt that way about any other game. Now that was true until I finally played Stray. Stray originally began production in 2015, and when it was finally released of this year on July 19th, everyone seemed really excited to play it. Reading the Wikipedia page, the game received generally high reviews, with much praise being directed at its artistic design, narrative, original score, performing elements, and cat gameplay. How many other games do you know not only have cat gameplay, but a good one at that? I heard about the game when it was announced, but I really didn't get much of the hype that was behind it. It just looked like another open world adventure game, but with a cat. But this game goes above and beyond in world building and characters. So the game opens up as I expected. The cat wakes up. Now, the cat isn't given a name throughout the entirety of the game, so I just decided to call him Ollie. Ollie wakes up, he meets with his other cat friends, and then he falls down into, you guessed it, an underground city inhabited by robots. Bit of a twist, but it kinda works. And I want to take a moment real quick to just look at the beauty of this world. There's few places in games where I am actually amazed to be playing in, but Stray has so many. Just in the tutorial alone, the detail is everywhere. The grass, the pipes, even the fur on the cat is all incredible to see. After Ollie falls, he finds a small robot called B12. Now, B12 explains that he helped out a scientist, but his memory is corrupted. Since Ollie can't talk, it does lead into the cliche of, the main character can't talk, so someone else has to do it for him. But in this case, it actually works. B12 never got on my nerves, mainly because I saw him more as a translator and support line for whenever I was confused. B12 brings Ollie up to the first city, where there are many different robots who are now functioning as a complete society. Originally, the robots think Ollie is a Zerk, which kinda looks like this, and I don't know, man, I don't see much of a resemblance. Now, the main robots that you meet with are actually under the name of the Outsiders, but you can meet with every robot in sight. The city actually helped me better understand the controls than the tutorial, since you can go anywhere you want. The controls are a little bit difficult to get used to, especially when it doesn't look like you can go anywhere, but once you get it, it just looks like Ollie's flying. The robots too, oh my gosh, they all have different personalities. I found myself going out of my way to meet up with these robots just to hear what they had to say. Like these guys, they're just throwing paint across some rooftops, but if you make one of them knock it down, you can see this guy down here cleaning it up. Momo was by far one of my favorites, which I think was intentional because you spend a good amount of time with him. Eventually you meet up with Doc, someone who has been trying to find a way into the outside world but doesn't quite know where to go. He gives you this tool that allows you to fight back against the Zerks, but it only works in this portion of the game. Why? This seemed like it was supposed to play a much bigger part in the story, but for me it just felt like wasted potential. Next is
Balthazar,
who just keeps telling you to keep going. Literally, that's it. And finally, Clementine. Clementine actually lives in another part of the city, which I felt was where most of the attention to detail was given. Here it is very easy to get lost as to where you're going and what you are aiming to do, but it's still fun to meet with everyone and hear what they have to say. Clementine explains that she's going to steal a battery to power up a nearby subway train that leads to the surface. After going to a rave, jail, and more of the city, Clementine holds back to the police so that we can keep going. No, Clementine, we miss you, no! Anyway, Ollie turns on the subway and we make our way to the main control room, where B12 actually reveals that he was the scientist that he was trying to help out. He tried to put his mind into the robots, but he kinda messed up. This at least makes more sense as to why we're collecting these memories scattered throughout the game. It's also revealed that the entire city was walled up because of a plague wiped out the entire human race. B12 and Ollie decide that the best thing to do is open up the city, but B12 dies in the process. I'm not lying when I say that I actually got a little bit upset over this, especially when there's an option to take a nap next to him. Oh, poor little Ollie. After the city opens up, Ollie leaves, the Zerks pop into the sunlight like a bunch of popcorn, and the robots likely leave the city to explore as well. Now, I know, I did go through the story really fast. However, that's something that I really wanted from this game, was a longer story. I finally get what all the hype was about, but when the credits rolled, I felt as though I was missing something. I would love to get a sequel to this story so that we could keep exploring. If anything, I just want to learn more about the Outsiders, especially Doc and Clementine. Momo was a great character because he was fully fleshed out, but Clementine and Doc were characters that I felt that they could have been expanded upon. Maybe a book or a short film would also be able to tell more about the story, the world, and the characters. I'm really excited to see more from Blue 12 Studios and the rest of the team. They knocked it out of the park with this one, so hopefully the next world that they bring us will be just as beautiful. And maybe a little bit longer.